Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the final round of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship. My name is Stephen Koenig, and it is an absolute pleasure to come to you guys all the way from Austria and a beautiful Red Bull ring. Gotta say, going to be a fantastic time, and considering this is the final race of the season, season 21 coming to a close, we're in for a rather exciting run as we go. Daniel de Villiers will be more than happy taking his championship win for the Sprint Series yesterday, and he's going to be smiling ear to ear on that one, looking to recover some of the pace that was out there. And we have also got our current champion, Brandon Kruger, who is waiting in the pits to go out. He is currently leading out the championship for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship on 312 points. Behind him is Christoph Peterson with 232. He's down the order. Mahath Musa 219. Dean O'Kea, unfortunately, will be missing out this next round, and he's on 258. And a big welcome to everyone. Take a look on the virtual grandstands. We have got the man, the myth, the legend, all the way out from Sarko. We've got Dylan Hall. Welcome back. Did you have to bring the rain from the likes of Idubi? I know the Thunderdome is a lot of fun, but you didn't have to bring the thunder back to Joburg. Honor also jumping in saying, evening everybody. Biggest Baddest also saying, how's it? Always fantastic to see you guys. And a monster welcome to you all. Kurt Bukes currently leading out the pack with a 127.9 as he tries to beat out Kieran Patterson of the PWSR team, currently running a 127.982. Daniel de Villiers running in third with a 128.270. Henry Platt trying to chase him down, along with Jason Farmer, Christoph Peterson, Drake Larsons, Connor Bergstrom, Alan Patterson back behind the wheel, Michael Donaldson looking to get a bit more pace underneath him, Johan Blicknote, along with Ruin Heineke in the Sarko Racing colours, Mahath Musa battling it out in the Project Vapor, Chris Wall in 14th, Brandon Kruger in 15th, Darren Miller in 16th, Bego Krobler, and this is a rather special livery that I would like to show everyone. Bego Krobler going and making the Sasol colours of the old Westbank V8 or the V8 category back in the day. So really, really good to see a bit of development there. So didn't race in Idubi. Well, you're rather lucky because we should have sent it all down to you guys. But long as you had fun, I know it wasn't quite the race that you wanted to have, but it's always fantastic to know that our drivers out there are doing an incredible job. And also, on behalf of RaceFace 2, Sarko, good luck with your championship upcoming. It's going to be a great one. Looking forward to it. And feel free to let us know on where we can get people sign up, be a part of the show. Take a look at it, guys. Really good one coming up. But let's take a look at our running order. Daniel de Villiers in third place, trying to pick up the pace. He's got Tian Elof, who is running in second. Tian, 0.030 behind the likes of Kurt Bukes, who leads out the pack. The Stingers Racing coming back in full force after a little bit of a rough run during the course of their race. So they're trying to pick up the pieces and get going. Daniel de Villiers looking to try and score as many points as possible. Kieran Patterson and Jason Farmer. A bit of a story for Jason Farmer. This is a emotional race for him, as this will be the final race in the Griffin Sim Racing colours. So he is going to be changing over to the new team. The ink has dried on the dotted line, and Jason Farmer will become a PWSR driver after this race, officially in the books. So Jason Farmer, lots to prove, lots to go on, and lots to look forward to, but also taking a deep breath on saying good farewell to a team that he has really been a critical part of. So good to see the guys are fighting out there. Paul Fenter going and also jumping in. A bit of a sad one that we don't actually have Paul Fenter out in the grid tonight, but there is a reason for that. And Paul Fenter is here to give us that very reason. So we're going to bring in Paul Fenter to have a chat. Paul, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely fantastic to have you. And welcome to another round, the final round of Season 21 how are you feeling, and why aren't you on the grid this evening for our pro category?
Well, I'm feeling absolutely relaxed and fantastic because I'm not inside of a death machine that is planning to kill me 20 times in, 80 minutes. So that's why.
Well, it's definitely one of the cars that's definitely had you on the back foot. But taking a look at the teammates out there, Chris Wall on a epic charge with the Lamborghini, trying to get to grips with the car a little bit more after a brief stint in a different championship in a Mercedes, where he was complaining of the same thing. Game plan for the Logistical Nightmare Racing team that's going to be racing here tonight, and especially seeing our top talent with 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go left in qualifying, and unfortunately the championship out of reach. But nothing stops you guys from, well, sticking it to the good fellows in the final race. Any thoughts or what's happening with the team?
Yeah, so Christoph, I think, said he needs a top 7 finish, then he should secure second. I'm taking him by his word on that. So the plan is just to do that. And for Chris with a C, he just plans to not hit walls and not get swallowed up with that very slow Lambo that he's in. So that's kind of just the boys, that's their plan for tonight.
No tool track team to help him out there. Oh, as we just see Christoph Peterson taking a little bit too much curb, and Mordred Claessen's having to dive to the outside, going and validating his lap time, but not quite ideal going through. Interesting enough though, 18 drivers fighting through. Paul, you've seen the highs, the lows, the dramas, the thrills, the spills of the championship coming down to the final round, and with high stakes on the line. Not really for first place in the championship, but the team championship still open, and the likes of second and third place is still on the cards for many drivers. Taking a look back at your time in the championship, anything that you would like to reflect on and say what you enjoyed or where things are?
I mean, for me personally, it was a bit of a letdown championship, just purely because I could not survive probably one race without dying. But besides that, it's always been fun, always is fun, except when the car tries to kill you. But the competition out there has been quite fierce and fun. So yeah, and then just trying to keep up with my own teammates was a bit of a headache at times. So yeah, I just hope everyone has a lacquer final race, to end off the season. And hopefully we can be having shots after the race to celebrate a P2 for one of our drivers within the team. I guess that's kind of just our outlook. And then, as always, to see the Oaks in a couple of weeks again here at RaceFace. We from our team side, we slowly starting to prepare for what's coming next week with Sarko. So yeah, then we'll be trying to take over the world on that side again for the next couple of weeks before we head on back to RaceFace.
Well, taking a look at the team standing, Logistical Nightmare Racing leading out the pack with PWSR 1 in second place and Project Vapor lying in third. Looks like you're aiming not only for your driver doing well, but possibly on for a chance to win the team championship.
Well, that you're giving me information that I actually did not have. So, well, if we win that, then obviously live shots incoming, lots of tequila, lots of cactus, and as always, a drunk wall on a Friday night we'd need to make that on a Thursday night to celebrate. So yeah, well, good luck to the boys, and I better go tell him to bring it home.
Well, yeah, that would be a good idea, considering you were one of the point scorers for that championship, and you're not in the seat. You're only 15 points. Well, no, not even 15 points with PWSR on 401. You're on 415. So it just takes the likes of Kieran Patterson and the likes of Dean to get across the... Well, Dean won't be in, but Kieran Patterson to score well. And unfortunately, that might slip out your hands. So I'm going to leave you to go and chat to the team on that one, because I know the ante has just been increased.
Yeah, I will do that. Thank you very much, and good luck to everyone, and see you all on the stream.
There we go. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Paul the Wall Fenter coming to have a chat to us. from the Logistical Nightmare Racing team. Not going to be behind the wheel tonight, but cheering on from the grandstands, much like all our incredible petrolheads out there. Kieran Patterson leads out the pack with a 127.7 as Garrett Bukes tries to make up a bit of time. He's running in second place with a 127.9, unfortunately stopping off circuit. Tiani Elof down into third, Bluchnote into fourth, Daniel De Villiers in fifth, Jason Farmer in sixth, Mordred Claessens, Alan Patterson, Henry Platt, Michael Donaldson rounds out our top 10. Maith Musa down in 11th position, along with Conor Bergstrom, Darren Miller, Ruan Heineke, Chris Wall, Brandon Kruger, and Bago Krobler rounds out the rest of our pack. 17 cars poised for action to really claw their way through. Henry Platt trying to increase his pace is now going to give it everything he's got to fight it out. So we'll have to see how it goes. So let's see where the pace is going to come from for a lot of drivers. Bago Krobler's car all set up to go in the Sasol colours, looking to bring some of the triumphant wins of old to come and join in. A bit of South African memorabilia. And now we are in for an epic fight. So Kieran Patterson leads out that pack. The Stingers is currently in second place. Tian Elof. Daniel De Villiers looks to try and get another top running order. That's what needs to be done by the team for PWSR to be able to walk away with the team championship. Waiting time coming over though, and so far Tian Elof, no improvement. Kieran Patterson not improving his time. Mordred Claessens is on the up. He's 0.2 up as he chases down Chris Wall just ahead of him. The Lamborghini getting chased down by the Porsche and having a good old fight there. So Mordred hanging in the toe, giving Chris a bit of a run. Now this is going to help him out. If Chris can just get the final two corners right. Mordred Claessens, oh, there's a bit of contact. Tried utilizing that slipstream. Unfortunately, Mordred Claessens and Chris Wall landed up going into the dirt. And that seems to be that for our qualifying. Unfortunately, Kieran Patterson, though, we're going to be smiling ear to ear, leads out the pack. And with that little tap on the rear, that went and told the story. Chris Wall, unfortunately, having the likes of the Porsche, the Pandacity, Mordred Claessens going into the back of him, trying to carry a bit of slipstream into the final two corners. So, with that being said, we're getting ready to move over to our race. This will be momentarily for our drivers. 1 hour, 20 minutes. Round 8, the final round of Season 21. Can you believe 8 weeks ago we started off with round 1 and then every single driver had to really push themselves out of the blocks, doing everything that they can to grab those valuable points throughout the entire championship. We've seen the highs, the lows, the thrills, the spills, drivers having to really battle the elements to be able to stay at the top. And it's come down to this, the final round here at the Red Bull Ring. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready for an action-packed race. Get ready for an hour and 20 minutes of trying to outwit and trying to outdo the competition. Red Bull, not very hard on the tires. You can get away with just doing a single stop if the temperature plays nice, and at the moment 37 degrees is going to be a tough one to work their way through. So many of the drivers are going to be sitting wondering, what do they need to do? How are they going to get this drive? Where are they going to improve their time here at the Red Bull Ring? And the Stingers Racing, for the first time in a very long time, is back on the top of the grid with Garrett Bukes, who had a difficulty with his brakes, if I remember, last night. That went and took him out of the race. So we'll have to see how this is all going to work out for every single one of our drivers. As the timer ticks away, everyone getting ready. GT3s at the ready, nerves are at the ready, knowing the final time they will see the green flag here for Season 21 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship will be underway. And after an hour and 20 minutes, they will see the checkered flag that will be it. 8 weeks of work culminating to this specific race, this circuit that purely relies on getting your corners right, getting the drive out, and always hanging in the toe of the competition. Darren Miller, going to be starting from pit lane by the looks of it, will be waiting it out. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the final time on a Thursday night for season 21, let's go through our grid of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship. And it's Kieran Patterson who leads out the pack. Gerrit Bukes in second place, along with Tian Elof, Johan Blichnout, Daniel de Villiers, Jason Farmer, Christoph Peterson, Mordre Claessens, Alan Patterson in 9th. 10th place, Henry Platt, along with Michael Donaldson, Mahath Musa in 12th. Conor Bergstrom runs in 13th, along with Darren Miller, who will be starting in pit lane. He was meant to start in 14th position. Ruben Heineke will move up in the order. He's going to be smiling ear to ear on that one, looking to break away from Chris Wall in 16th. 17th is Brandon Kruger, and rounding out the pack is Bego Hrobler. Johan Bego Hrobler out in the tribute colors of the old Westbank V8s. So as they start making their way through, drivers and teams have been working like no tomorrow. Lots of effort, lots of practice this season. Second and third still on the line for the Drivers' Championship, and the Team Championship is going to be a fight out between PWSR 1 and the likes of Logistical Nightmare Racing. Each have only got one driver sitting in their ranks to be able to score the points here. Who's going to be able to get to the line the quickest? Who's going to be able to beat out the pack? And which team is going to be able to walk away with the championship? And which drivers will be able to go and be smiling ear to ear? Brandon Kruger, who's starting at the back, will be smiling as he is the champion. He's walked away with enough points, and finishing tonight will just cement his win for season 21. Gotta say, this would be his first season he's won in RaceFace in a very, very long time due to no internet issues. So he's quite happy on that one. Had a little bit of a discussion with him, and one of the answers was he's really, really looking forward to ending off on a high and looking to duke it out with the competition here. Kieran Patterson and likes of Gerrit are now lining up side by side. Quick warm up of the tires. They'll slow everything down to 70 kilometers an hour and wait for the lights. When the lights go green, an hour and 20 minutes later, the checkered flag will come down. Legacies will be made. Legends will be had. And now we are ready for all the action. As Kieran Patterson starting in pole position. And in due course, this would be his final season for a good while, because he's going to be taking a 5-month absence from sim racing. So he's going to make this work out for him as we wait. Lights on, lights on, lights on, lights on, and lights off. We're racing. Tian Elof trying to get a fantastic start. Looks towards the middle of the line. Couldn't quite get the pass done and dusted. Comes right across the nose. Back at the likes of de Villiers. Tian Elof into second. Oh, looks like Jason Farmer having a little bit of a coming together with Mordre Claessens in the back. Lucas now trying to fight it out with Daniel de Villiers at Nissan GTR, holding on the inside line, going in hard onto the brakes into turn 4. Mustang trying to sweep around the outside. It's going to lose a bit of drive here. Needs to try and keep it all together, but loses out to de Villiers. Blichnout immediately catches into the toe, tries to pull himself along. Christoph Peterson running in 7th, and we've got Alan Patterson chasing down in 8th. Bit of contact between Henry Platt and the likes of Mordre Claessens. That has helped out Mahath Musa. He looks to go late on the bait, gets ahead of Ruben Heineke, and now will continue on his drive with a bit of a tow going on as well as he pulls Henry Platt down with him. Mordre Claessens trying to stay into the mix, switching around, looks for the inside of the number 9. Couldn't quite get it done and dusted as the drivers are duking it out. Bego Hrobler down a second at the moment, just staying off the pack as he tries to make up some time. He's been out of the sim for a while, now needing to just find his feet. As Mordre Claessens looks around the outside, he's going to be battling it out. Brandon Kruger's looking to try and defend as a sweep across from the Pandacity driver gets it done and dusted. And we do see all three of the Omnius Gaming drivers, sorry, two of the Omnius Gaming drivers pulling into the pits, and the likes of Ruin Heineke from Sarko, Jason Farmer into the pits as well, trying to get that first pit stop out of the way with the traffic. Tian Elof and Kieran Patterson now giving it everything that they got to fight it out all the way through. Tian now putting the pressure on Kieran Patterson, wanting to really show what he can do here. Kieran Patterson, a former champion in the category, knows what he needs to do to keep up the rhythm, keep up the pace, and ensure that he can keep up the drive. Daniel de Villiers trying to close up to them. Unfortunately, he's a bit far back. Lucas keeping ahead of Blicknotes, and Christoph Peterson getting a little bit more driving. He's pulling Alan Patterson along. Alan mimicking those moves every step of the way, trying to carry as much momentum through the corners, and wants to ensure he stays in that slipstream. Last thing he wants to do is slip and fall out of it, and Michael Donaldson feeling that exact thing. As he loses a bit of pace to the cars ahead of him, he will be falling into the clutches of Conor Bergstrom, Mahath Musa. Then we've got Mordred Claessens, who's back on the climb, trying to move back through the fight. So we're going to quickly take a look and see what happened at the start of the race with the number 10 car of Mordred Claessens up against Jason Farmer. So this is heading into turn 1. Jason Farmer a little bit slow off the start. Got Mordred up on the inside, going late on the anchors. Mordred trying to make it 2-3 wide, or over the curb, unfortunately. And that just twisted him out enough to go and cause that break in traction. So there is going to be a proper run. And Kurt Bucas has got going Blicknotes and Christoph Peterson on the back of him. Bit of a question coming in of why we don't have a broadcast for our Pro-Am. Well, Tristan Herbst, who usually does the broadcast on the Pro-Am, unfortunately is away for work, and his final broadcast was last week for round 7. He will be back for the bigger events like the Enduros, but unfortunately will not be around for the Pro-Ams at this point. So we haven't got a stream for the Pro-Ams, but it doesn't say in the future we won't. Don't lose out hope just as yet. Christoph Peterson, though, all over the back of Blicknote, looking left, looking right, tries to look around him, couldn't quite get the run, and Alan Patterson now has closed up the gap in the Aston Martin. He knows that if he can just keep it all together and keep Michael Donaldson at bay, who runs a little bit further down, he's in for a shot here. And Christoph Peterson, as we heard, needs to climb up through the ladder to ensure he holds a second place in the championship. And at the moment, he is sitting out of it, lying in 6th at the moment. He needs to really jump up to be able to get it. He needs to try to get as close as he can to first place. So he needs to see how this is going to work out for him. As Johan Blick notes, Christoph Peterson and Alan are still going and fighting it out. Alan going late on the brakes, trying everything he can, clawing to see where he can get the drive. Unfortunately, not working out just as yet, but Michael Donaldson clawing back at him. Jason Farmer coming back on the attack after Bego Krobler in that big Sasol Mustang, going and putting in a bit of tribute to the old of motorsport here in South Africa. I know for many people it's going to be a blast from the past, beautifully done and replicated here in a set of Corsa Competizione. Gotta say, the art absolutely amazing. Now he's got the Griffin Sim Racing driver Jason Farmer, not off to the best of starts, but is trying to pick up the pace and ensure he stays in for the fighting order. Looks on the inside, can he get the movement done? Unfortunately not, had to move out of it. Couldn't quite get himself just set up enough to make it work on the way through. So definitely some hard racing coming in, drivers needing to try and move through, and looks like we have got one driver missing that's gone out of the race, which is rather unfortunate really. And that might be, well, it's not Mordred Claessens. Chris Wall's there, trying to see who it might be that we've lost, because we've gone and lost a driver. So Kieran Patterson, Tian Elof, Daniel de Villiers, Eric Bukes, Blicknote, Patterson, Donaldson, Conor Bergstrom, Myers Musa, Claessens, Chris Wall. We're missing Christoph, the LNR driver that was aiming for the top running order, unfortunately out of the race for some odd reason that he's out of the race. So we'll try and get some information on that. I know Paul Fenter is tuned in. Maybe you can find out why Christoph is no longer going around. Maybe a disconnect taking him out of the race. Donaldson making the pass on Alan Patterson around the outside, got it done and dusted. Now Connor Bergstrom has him lined up, and Connor looking to try and get him down into turn 5. Looks for the inside line. This is a long braking zone that you got to try and get those pulled in just right. And Alan Patterson going and closing that door beautifully has now allowed Mahaith Musa back in for the fight and go everything he can. Thriller Miller also out of it. So we've lost 2 drivers where even Darren Miller is out of the race. That is unfortunate after starting in pit lane and looks like not able to get onto the grid. Rather unfortunate to see. But in turn, I know he has been quite busy behind the scenes at home. Alan Patterson side by side with Michael Donaldson and comes and sweeps across the nose of Donaldson. Beautifully done from one of our fastest commentators here in RaceFace. Alan Patterson leads out that charge as we do see a couple of drivers diving into pit lane, getting themselves sorted. Mahaith Musa being that very driver. Michael Donaldson looking for the inside line up into T1. It's going to be a bit of late braking, try and get that Ferrari to work out here. Not going to be an easy one as the Aston Martin's going to have the drive. Second gear, third gear, and all the way up, side by side they go. The Aston of Alan Patterson is now trying to keep up and ensure that he can keep the pressure on Michael Donaldson. If he can try and tighten up that turn 4 under braking, Donaldson will have a difficult time. He does brake a bit earlier. That's compromised Connor Bergstrom, and Mordred Claessens goes in, capitalizes on the moment, gets past, and now looks to take a little bit of a drag race all the way through. Absolutely amazing stuff for Mordred Claessens, but Connor Bergstrom coming back at him. The 2 former teammates are now wing mirror to wing mirror, looking across the table at one another, and it looks like Connor Bergstrom just losing out the drive a little bit too wide through the corner, and now has to try and put himself back together in this race. We are getting a bit of a report. Jason Farmer, the 369 car, had a bit of contact. That's with Bego Kroblo. So in towards turn 4 on the anchors, sweeps across. Oh, a little bit of a touch. There it is. As Bego straighten up the steering wheel, not to have a T-bone. A little bit of side-on contact again. Third, fourth, and Jason Farmer not budging. Despite the repeated knocks on the door, he is not going to go and answer that one. He's going to just try and say, look, I'm going to get going. I'm going to keep going, and you're not going to catch me. Mahaith Musa on the climb. He's chasing down Braden Kruger. Now, remember, these 2 are leading out those that have completed their first pit stops. Kurt Bukes now dealing with Johan Blichnout as they charge their way up towards the likes of turn 4, up on the inside. Blichnout gets a drive, and the Stingers Racing trying to go for a little bit of an undercut. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get it done and dusted. We've actually got Darren Miller, who is sitting in the grandstands. And Darren, any news of why the Porsche unfortunately not out? So we're getting further reports that unfortunately it was a brake pedal issue that has come into play that's taken him out of the race. Oh man, that is definitely not ideal circumstances. But look, for you, the commentary box is open. We'd love to have you come and have a chat to us and be part of, just give us your thoughts of the season, because it's been one hell of a ride for yourself, Mr. Miller. So it's always welcome, and it's going to be a huge honor to have you. Connor Bergstrom, though, fighting out with Mordred Claessens. Still, these 2 are 0.3 of a second over one another and trying everything they can, throwing hammer and tongs and caution to the wind at this point, trying to get the leg up on the competition. Unfortunately, both so evenly matched at this point. The Mustang, incredible in a straight line. The Porsche, incredible through the corners. Michael Donaldson fighting out with the Aston Martins. Now, I had a little bit of a chat finding out what's happening with the BOPs in the LFM, especially for Red Bull Ring, and apparently the Aston Martins are 22 kilograms lighter than what they are, and that is purely to try and give them a little bit more to be a car that can compete with the rest of the drivers. So always great stuff to see everyone fighting it out and doing everything they can. But at the moment, it is Kieran Patterson opening up a 1.8 second gap to Tian Elof. Daniel De Villiers 1.6 seconds back from him. Johan Blichnout, Kurt Bukes, along with Alan Patterson and Michael Donaldson going and chasing him down. Mordred Claessen's in 8th, Conor Bergstrom in 9th, Chris Wall in 10th position. Brandon Kruger runs in 11th position. Mahath Musa chasing him down with Henry Platt, Jason Farmer, Beggar Krobler, and Ruin Heineke looking to continue their drive and continue their bit of pace during the course of this race. All still so much to go on, as we have only completed 11 minutes and, well, nearly 12 minutes of the race. And we're in for an absolute race of note. From 11th down, all completing their first pit stop. Trying to figure out where on earth are the rest of the drivers going to pit. They did the earlier pit stop, and it was for a splash and dash for most, except for Ruin Heineke, who actually was in the pit for a lot longer in the Sarko colours. He did 36.5, so it was a change of tyres by the looks of it for him to get the car sorted out. Number 69, who didn't quite get off to that fantastic start as he would like, now needing to just claw his way back through the order a bit early for the tyres, and I don't think it was planned for him to take a new set of tyres that early on. Michael Donaldson keeping the pressure on Alan Patterson, though, will continue on the drive. Alan not breaking the pace at this point as we jump on board the rear wing of the PWSR. Alan Patterson, as he sees Michael Donaldson trying to close up under braking in through the infield, and that is going to be an absolute run for him. But Donaldson not able to get going. We are getting a bit of information creeping in that Christoph Peterson, who was game on for second in the championship, got disconnected, and that means that he will not be able to hold that second place in the champion, or go for the second place in the championship, and unfortunately takes him out of the running. I mean, that is, oh man, not a favorable one at all. And once again, I'd like to invite those drivers that can't get in to come through and have a chat to us. But Christoph, if there's any chance of you getting back in, I highly recommend that you get yourself back in, complete the race. You might not get that second place, but you get to see the checkered flag the way it needs to be seen, under your own steam and across the line, to go and send off season 21. Considering the team championship is on the line, it's well worth scoring those few points that may go and save the championship ever so slightly. So as we're on board with Michael Donaldson in the Ferrari, closing up onto Alan Patterson, trying to see where he can get any pass done, and does so. Unfortunately, not able to get the run there. Will have to wait it out yet again. The drivers are trying to figure out what will work out for them. Mordred Claessen's, however, has closed up onto the back of Michael Donaldson. Mordred Claessen's, after he's a little bit of contact at the start, going and losing out, will be on an absolute drive to get himself back towards the sharp end of the field, and going and having a bit of a chat there. Well, looking at Christoph Peterson saying, unfortunately, having problems with the car means that he will not be going out. Doesn't want to drive too dangerously with the other competitors that are fighting out for the championship. Fair enough. Cannot take it away from him. And, you know, it takes a lot of mental fortitude to say, well, don't want to ruin another person's race. As Michael Donaldson runs out a bit wide, Mordred Claessen's closed up the gap, and Conor Bergstrom is closed up as well. Kerry Pukas now pulled into the pit lane, now lying in 10th. He's going to be slowly slipping down the order and wanting to get out as quick as he can. That's for certain, as he's currently running light in the championship for Kerry. He's in 14th. So after a great qualifying, he's hoping to make up some time, probably to aim for the top 10 in his running order. Mordred Claessen's, who we see been climbing and fighting and clawing his way back up, is lying in 10th position in the championship, with Michael Donaldson just ahead of him. Michael Donaldson is so far running in... This is one thing you can always say, you always got to keep notes. 19th in the championship. So what we're seeing here is Donaldson and Mordred Claessen's fighting it out. This is going to help Alan Patterson to try and open up a little bit of a gap to the two, hoping that they'll brawl it out with one another. But heading into the final two corners, They closed up at a rate of knots, and now Claessen's looking to try and get past Michael Donaldson. Donaldson's going to have to hold the inside line. He tries to go to the center circuit. He's trying to stop that Porsche from coming across the nose, and does so. Mordre Claessen's made it stick in the running order. I mean, that was incredibly close. Actually, let's go back a little bit and see from on board the likes of Michael Donaldson on that pass. I mean, that was an incredible run on his part. So Donaldson holding the inside line. He does scoot a little bit towards the middle, waiting for it. Goes and puts pressure onto the left-hand side, and watch how this Porsche rockets past. No touching, gets the drive, and still opens up the gap. That is a seriously well done move into turn one that generally doesn't end off too well. But now Alan Patterson's got Mordre Claessen's on the back of him, and that will allow Michael Donaldson and Corner and Bergstrom to go and fight their way through and bring themselves closer into the battle. So Alan Patterson switching focus from just trying to drive away. He's going to have to get his elbows out, and I can even see the team leader of the Pandacity team with the streamers there going absolutely nuts for the pass of Mordre Claessen's. And Michael Donaldson looks like he may actually be giving a bit of room to dive into the pits and get his pit stop done and dusted. Alan Patterson loses out a little bit of a drive, took it too tight coming out of the final corner, and this is going to have Mordre Claessen's with a lot of drive next to him. It is wheel to wheel. Oh, contact! Contact between the two. Hard impact for Alan Patterson. That was a monster amount of impact. And let's go to the helicam and take a look at that, because it looked like it may have been a bit of contact from the left rear. So Claessen's getting close, holding line. Oh man, that little snap across, bit close and call, but I'm sure that unfortunately is going to leave Alan Patterson a little bit annoyed on what's gone on, but he's going to still charge around. He's still going to finish it through and fight his way back up through the order. I mean, that is a monster impact that he has taken. And give you guys an idea, I mean, this is Alan fighting to keep that car in control. You can see the damage going and working around. He's having to try and straighten everything out to be able to get going and not going too hard on the throttle. Car not cornering, no aerodynamics, just doesn't want to hook to the left too well. Understeer turning into a revolting thing and having to battle it out with oversteer. Now this is going to be a pit stop, and a very lengthy one for Alan Patterson to get the repair work done to his car and ensure that he can get going yet again. But Mordre Claessen's up into 5th place. I mean, that is just wow. That was a little bit on the tough side for sure. Mahayath Musa and Bukas trying to make up some time. Henry Platt onto the back of him. Alan Patterson into the pits. Brandon Kruger leads out those that have done their first pit stop and will continue on their drive towards the sharp end of the field. So, while Alan's getting some work done to his car, and the team running out with all the tools necessary, hammers, cable ties, locking wire, everything they can, new bonnets to try and get the car sorted out. Alan Patterson will look to get that pit stop done and dusted and ensure he can try and get out. Score remaining points for his championship, and we'll see how the drivers go in this one. Kurt Bukes and Henry Platt trying to have a go at him, as this is our closest running pack at the moment. Donaldson, Musa, Kurt Bukes and Henry Platt. Everyone else sitting a little bit far. Daniel de Villiers starting to close up the gap to Tian Elof. He's 1.8 seconds off the back of him, so it's something to keep an eye out as the race further continues for all that goes on. Mahayath Musa keeping Donaldson and keeping him rather honest at this moment. The Project Vapor drivers going and doing a phenomenal job to try and make their way through. Also, a big shout out to the Project Vapor drivers for going and they entering a championship with Lamar Ultimate. I think it's called VMS. That has Pro Division, where a couple of the Project Vapor drivers managed to get into the Pro Divisions overseas. So well done, guys. And phenomenal to see them going out and duking it out. I think Mahath Musa and Andre Sorodio are those two drivers that got in. But stand to be corrected. I know who can get hold of me. Oh, that is Donaldson parked off in the wall. Not good for the number 1 car. And Jason Farmer will be looking to capitalize. So let's see what on earth happened to Donaldson. And go to a helmet cam. Running out. Getting it all sorted. The rear stepping out underneath him. And hard into the wall. The damage is definitely there. And he's going to be well aware of it. And tires are going to start to eat it as well. So definitely not a good run. After Donaldson's been working quite hard to get the pace. Eventually snapping under the pressure that was put on the back of him. Means Mahath Musa going to be smiling ear to ear as he will be gaining a position, running a little bit further up and not having too much of a problem. Henry Platt has got Gerrit Bukes right in his sight and part of an earlier pit stop, but not as early as the rest. He did a stop and go, which was 9.4, so just enough to top up the tank a little bit, get back out and carry on racing. Let's see how it's all going to work out for him. Our top 7, though, needing to go and pull in the pits. Kieran Patterson opening up a 3.7 second gap to Tian Elof. Daniel De Villiers holding that 1.8 seconds as they go through. Blicknote running in 4th. Mordre Claessens, Connor Bergstrom, Chris Wall, Brandon Kruger, Mahath Musa, Gerrit Bukes, Henry Platt, Michael Donaldson has got Jason Farmer all over the back of him. And Farmer's going to have a great run as, Michael Donaldson into the pit lane. So Jason Farmer gains a position. Bego Krubler will be smiling as he gains a position. Ruben Heineke on his claw back from the brink. Now up into 15th position, still going. And back out on track, despite the impact against the wall that really hurt this Aston Martin. Alan Patterson still soldiering on to go and take that pink across the line. That is exactly what we love to see. The determination of the drivers to keep going no matter what. Try and get that car across the line. Try and ensure that they stand at the top of the running order. We do have a guest to come in, and that is one of the PWSR drivers to come and have a chat to us. Namely, please put your hands together for Darren Miller, Old Thriller Miller, to come in. Darren, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely fantastic to have you, and a bit sad that we don't have you on the track this evening with a mechanical failure coming into play.
How's it?
Hello, welcome. I believe you got a mechanical problem that's taken you out of the race. Can you give us a little bit of information on what happened?
Yeah, it was just a unfortunate screw that fell loose inside the brake pedal and shot it loose.
So definitely...
So I went flying off the track.
Definitely not ideal circumstances going out there. But it has been a season for you. Lots of ups and downs, highs and low moments. Looking back at the season, is there anything that you would say, hey, that was a really good moment for you? Or is there a part of the season that has really stood out to you that either happened with other drivers or your team?
It's been a terrible season. But to see Alan get extremely quick now, and Daniel has improved a hell of a lot. Kieran and Dean's a mega driver, and then we've just signed Jason Farmer as well, so it's been a good season in that way. And I'll be happy to say that the Porsche is getting parked up at the end of the season, and I'm looking forward to having a new car.
All right, so the old Herbie is going to be put to bed on this one. Now, we know that you guys have been on the hard charge. There's the fight out for the team championship. What's the nerves feeling like for the entire LNR pit, the entire pits of the PWSR? And also with the win of Daniel De Villiers last night.
there's a bit of infighting between himself and Dean. Dino, there's one point in it, and I think there's some stewarding that has to take place. So Daniel, he's a bit pessimistic at the moment, but yeah, great driving by him. He's really improved this season.
Always fantastic to hear. Well, for anyone that doesn't know,
Yeah.
Darren Miller has been fighting out with the whole family to ensure they keep things going. The reason why you see the beautiful pink on the vehicles is actually for support for all the cancer patients and such. And this is a driven program by Darren Miller. Mr. Miller, if it's okay, can you give us a bit of an idea of why the PWSRs are wearing this pink a little bit more and taking it across the line?
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, my lady was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and the whole community came out and in a show of support. Everyone was was driving in pink for that first evening, and since then it's really been driven on by Alan. He's been showing a great amount of support to us, and I get messages all the time, and he just came up with the goods straight away. So yeah, it's been great to see, and the support is excellent.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, our hearts are always with you, and if you ever need anything, you just speak up, and the sim racing community will be behind you and the missus all the way.
That first race at Proto, we watched it on the weekend after, and it was very moving to see everyone in the pink. So thank you to everyone in the community.
Absolutely great stuff, and so much more coming in the future for you, and a lot of excitement in your racing. Looking forward to seeing what car you're going to be jumping in. Now, I know you're trying to hold a bit of secret of what it is.
I can tell you right now because I'm very excited about it, and Daniel is even more excited. So that's a clue for you.
Okay, interesting stuff. Is it happen to be a car that's no longer on a manufacturing line?
It is.
Right.
And it's a monster.
There we go. Some say it's a kaiju.
Yeah.
There's a bit of homework for you guys. That's to come out. Well, Darren, it's been an absolute honor having you this season. I know it's been an up and down season for you, but it's been incredible to have you on the grid. And once again, thank you very much for all the support that you do, coming in weekly on a Wednesday to come in, just chirp in, be part of the show, and be a part of it. It's absolutely been grand, and we look forward to seeing you fighting out back on track.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephen.
Good luck, enjoy, and good luck finding the brakes.
Go PWSR.
Go PWSR. Absolutely love it. Darren Miller, old Thriller Miller, coming in for a bit of a chat with us, hearing it, unfortunately, standing on the brakes and the whole thing letting go underneath him. And this is going to be an epic run for him. Henry Platt and Kurt Bukes are going to be fighting it out, doing everything that they can. I do want to point out, though, that for the incidents out on track, it's very, very difficult to look from a broadcasting's point of view and see what can be done. So, what also does be filtered in is down towards our stewards. They will take a look into the matter. So I do ask for those to... Let's let the stewards go and decide what has gone on with a lot more telemetry than what we have at our disposal at the moment. But taking a look at 49 minutes left of this race, the track temperature has gone up 1 degree, up to 38 degrees as Henry Platt keeping the pressure on Kerry Bukes. Alan Patterson caught up to Michael Donaldson as well. So he's on a desperate climb up through the order. Tian Elof, who we saw has done his pit stop, did a splash and dash, 5.4 seconds, is now in 7th position, trying to make up a little bit of time through the order. Oh, Herriot going and keeping a very positive line there to get the drive out. Henry Platt was forced to go to the outside, killed off the drive, ran over the curb. That did not help him. Michael Donaldson, though, has completed all these pit stops. Let's go and keep an eye on that one, because he's going to be a nice gentle climb up as the rest of the field will start to get their pit stops done and dusted. Now, we do expect to see the next 6 drivers pulling in roughly at 45 minutes to get their first stop out of the way and be able to contend in the fight, as Alan Patterson looked for a big pass, dived into the pit, so he is looking to capitalize and get the undercut to join Michael Donaldson on the climb through. Tian Elof into the pits is going to also try and get the pit stop done and dusted. Henry Platt looking to go side by side with Ferret. The Stingers Racing sweeps across the nose of the Aston Martin and getting it done and dusted, as it's a battle of the V8s. There's going to be a proper run through the order. So Henry Platt continues on the drive to try and break Ferret Bukes. Tian Elof down into 11th position. Alan Patterson going to be also completing his stop, joining Michael Donaldson to get those stops out of the way and see where on earth they can keep the climb. A little bit further back though, Jason Farmer is in the shot to ensure that he stays in for the running order. As we jump on board with the Ford Mustang GT3 down the gears, you can hear absolutely ramming it to use a bit of engine braking to get himself sorted out. Henry Platt trying everything he can, under braking. So many straightaways here that absolutely needs you to have the draft the whole way through. You've got to be in that slipstream to claw your way up through the order. And it's going to be a tremendous one. Both drivers looking to score massive points here for the final round of the championship, season 21, before we go on a bit of a break, before we head on to season 22. Oh, Henry Platt with a bit of a drift coming out through the infield. Now has to try and make up that ground. And Henry Platt at the moment starting to battle. And I wonder if maybe the rears on the Aston Martin are starting to drop off like a ton of bricks at this point. Looking left, looking right, goes on the brakes. And you can see just having to feather the throttle through down to second gear and back up on the power to carry on that little bit of momentum. So definitely going and fighting and soaring at that wheel to see how it's going to go. Henry Platt, Ferret Bukes still going to be finding out. Kieran Patterson leads out 8.9 seconds away from Daniel de Villiers, and Johan Blicknote running in third. Mordre Claessens now up into fourth position. Will look to try and close up that 2.3 second gap to Blicknote. Conor Bergstrom on the chase, 5.2 seconds back from him. 13.6 Chris Wolf, along with Brandon Kruger, who is 9.1, who set the fastest lap time of the race and still holds it at 128.705. Mahath Musa in 8th, 9th is Ferret Bukes, and Henry Platt running in 10th. Jason Farmer going and racing for the final time of the Griffin Sim Racing team, and will be saying his farewells before putting on the yellow PWSR colours. And the Griffin Sim Racing team have been quite emotional on the part to say farewell to Jason Farmer. And I actually got to have a bit of a chat with him during the course of the race, or the week, and went and asked him. He said it was quite an emotional time. The Griffin Sim Racing team and him have been quite synonymous in his sim racing career. Been on the climb, whether it be enduros, sprint races, or even the longer races. They've been together fighting across the waters and waving the South African flag high. And unfortunately, it has had to be time to move forward, but does send a lot of his thanks and his growth to the likes of the Griffin Sim Racing team. And it's always nice to see a driver paying homage to the teams that they work with, to be part of the show, to all the fans of those teams as well. And that's what we get to see as more and more drivers duke it out here in the world of RaceFace.Pro and in sim racing in general. You get to see these amazing people doing everything they can to ensure that they stay at the top end of the order. You get to know the drivers and everyone. I mean, this is going to be a proper run through the order. And Werner Skuman going and asking a question about a broadcast. No, V8s are important. Just didn't have the time, unfortunately, not the time, wasn't able to on Tuesday. Do want to get that all done and dusted so we can get it out, because the BMW M2s versus supercars is always fun. And from what I can gather, it was a rather exciting race, so that should be coming out this week as well. Chris Hall now pulling into the pits from 6th position, as we do keep an eye on this battle of Ferret Bukes and Henry Platt. This is our closest fight currently on circuit, And the drivers trying to make their way in through a tough time here. Tian Elof completing all his stops. And it looks like Henry Platt going to be joining into the mix as well. Dives into the pits. Leaves Ferret out to do yet another lap. Looking for a bit of an undercut on the way through. So Kieran Patterson, Daniel De Villiers, Johan Blicknote, Mordred Claessens, Connor Bergstrom, all yet to get their first pit stop done and dusted. 43 minutes and 17 seconds left of this race, leaving it a bit down to the wire on it, and all going and taking a look at the current amount of pit stops. The only one that has taken, well, there is a couple of drivers that have taken tyres. Tian Elof is on a new set of tyres. He's in 13th position. So is Jason Farmer, Michael Donaldson, and Alan Patterson, all on a new set of boots to try and get a little bit more pace underneath them. Every driver beyond them have only been on the same set of tyres since the start of the race. And that is where it's going to get rather interesting, and you're having to try and figure out what works for the drivers. How are they going to be able to get that climb? Where do they need to increase? Where do they need to find that little bit of pace underneath them? Claessens trying to catch up to Blicknote, 1.8 seconds behind him, and is closing at a rate of knots. Blicknote going to be looking in his mirrors, trying to see where he can go. Well, Werner Skuman giving a bit of orders there and a bit of insight into the race that will be coming out on the channel, and will do. We'll give a bit more focus to the BMW M2s. They're very, very close, but also the V8s have got to have a bit of love there. I mean, those are monsters, the Gen 3 supercars. And considering we have got monstrous V8s currently out on the track, example like the Mustang, Mordred Claessens though, showing what happens if you talk about a V8 near the Porsche. The tail gets a bit loose and gets a bit wobbly. Does not want to be anywhere near that. He's lost a bit of time, 2.3 seconds behind. So, let's take a look at who's gained and who's lost at this point. Kieran Patterson exactly where he started, with the likes of Daniel De Villiers up 3 positions. We do have another dropout though. We're up to now down to 15 cars. So we also had one car unfortunately dropping out of the running order. Daniel De Villiers in seconds, up 3 places. Jan Blicknote's up 1. Mordred Claessen's up 4. Connor Bergstrom is up 8. Brandon Kruger up 11. Maeth Musa up 5. Kira Bukes down 6. Chris Wall up 7. Bagel Krobler up 8. Ruben Heineke up 4. Tian Elof down 9. Henry Platt down 3. Jason Farmer down 8. And Alan Patterson down 6 after that bit of contact. But unfortunately, we do have one car off the circuit and no longer behind the wheel. And I'm trying to see who that is. That may actually be Michael Donaldson, who is retiring and having a bit of a problem. So Michael Donaldson is now out of the race. For what reason? I'm not quite sure. Hopefully we'll go and find out what's happening. So just getting a bit of reports in from our reporters on the ground of what's happening. And we have got a bit of words coming in. Unfortunately, well, I've got to tone it down a little bit. And that is, Michael Donaldson had a system failure, as we see Kieran Patterson pulling into the pits. Now, we're not talking about system failure. I'm talking about the entire brains of the operation, the entire PC that he's utilizing. Went and did an update, and it shut down mid-race. And that's, I mean, that is just gutting. It must have been the timer sitting there saying, you have got 30 minutes to do this. And unfortunately, during that time, he was in the car, racing as hard as he can. Now, no longer out on the field. Blicknote up into second place as Kieran now drops down to 4th. Daniel De Villiers is going to stay out. Mordred Claessen's 1.8 seconds. Oh man, that is just heartbreaking. We've had a few different problems. I mean, from a brake failure that has crept up on a few drivers to an entire system shutting down. Ruben Heineke in the pits, Chris Wall in the pit, Kira Bukes coming out of pit lane. So those drivers getting their final stop done and dusted for the season. Connor Bergstrom, Mordred Claessen's, Johan Blicknote, and Daniel De Villiers will still need to do their stop, as we're starting to see Bagar Krobler, who also needs to do his stop. Maeth Musa coming in to complete his final pit stop. A couple of drivers are leaving it right for the run. And Mordred Claessen's on the climb to Blucknote, who is unwavering at this point. But Daniel de Villiers leads out by a 9-second gap and gearing himself up for the pit lane, following the line all the way through to keep it nice and safe, and will be coming in for his first stop of the race. Blucknote going to continue on his drive. Will not pull into... No, he is pulling into pit lane. So let's see if Mordred Claessen's, yes, follows him in. Conor Bergstrom is going to be the next one. And he is going to stay out a little bit longer to try and take over the lead of this race. So Conor Bergstrom comes across the line. He will be taking over the lead of the race from Daniel de Villiers. But will be losing out a little bit later on, as we do see Mahath Musa moving as he starts to come out of that incredibly long pit lane, which pivots up towards turn 1, gets really tight, and you have to slow things up quite a bit. Brandon Kruger into the pits as well, as he's trying to get his stop done and dusted, ensure that he can keep up the momentum. Kieran Patterson going to be launching his way back up through the order, caught up behind the likes of Ruan Heineke at this moment. Ruan Heineke going to be a lap down, does mind out the way, allows for the likes of Kieran to come on by, who takes his position. De Villiers down on the wheels, and it is Kieran Patterson up into second place, with Daniel de Villiers going to be coming out into second. Mordred Claessen's going to lose out to Blucknote at the moment as he tries to get a little bit of momentum. Blucknote is going to be getting a bit ahead. Says thank you very much on that one. Brandon Kruger going to be waiting out just a bit longer. One driver to go and get his stops, even his first one done and dusted, is going to be Conor Bergstrom at the moment, looking to go and try and get these pit stops rather close to one another, but also taking a look at the times as Conor Bergstrom looks to pull into the pits. Kieran Patterson on a new set of boots, Daniel de Villiers on a new set of tyres, Johan Blucknote on a new set of tyres, Mordred Claessen's on a new set of tyres. Beggar Krobler has only done a splash and dash in his last stint. Tian Elof has completed all his pit stops, and he is running with a new set of tyres. Brandon Kruger's got a new set of tyres. Mahath Musa, Henry Platt, Jason Farmer, Claire Bukes, Chris Wall. Ruan Heineke was only splash and dash. He was only stopped for 19 seconds, so he's trying to run single tyres the whole way through. And Alan Patterson on a new set of tyres. Interesting approach, and we are seeing quite a few of the drivers going and pushing themselves out a little bit more to a no stop, well, to no tyre change strategy to slow up how much time they spend in the pits. Mahath Musa, Henry Platt, Jason Farmer all on top of one another. Conor Bergstrom into the pits. Kieran Patterson going and retaking the lead of the race, with Daniel de Villiers holding in second. But now is Conor Bergstrom going to come out in front of this battling duo, Johan Blucknote and Mordred Claessen? No, he is not. Loses out to both of the drivers, as Claessen still trying to close up that gap. Conor Bergstrom, as we see, coming out of pit lane. Beggar Krobler will just meet him at the top into the apex of turn 1. And in the Sasol colours, looking to try and make up some time here. Unfortunately, not close enough to make it work. What a turn of events coming from our drivers. Mahath Musa 1.6, now 1.8 away from Henry Platt. Jason Farmer trying to make up the time and has had some personal coaching to increase his pace in the race. So far, it seems to be all paying off on the way through. So Jason Farmer closing up the gap at a rate of knots. Nose to tail, pulls himself in. Closer, closer, closer. Oh, not able to get that leading pack just as yet. We'll have to wait it out just a fraction longer during the course of the drive. So Kieran Patterson going to be running a little bit longer in this race. 34 minutes of our final round here at the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship Season 21. So many points left on the line for drivers to snatch. And considering we had the likes of Christoph Peterson, who unfortunately will count as a do not finish, may actually have a problem with the likes of Mahath Musa. Mahath Musa is currently lying on 219 points. His aim is to beat up the 232 points ahead of him. So this is going to be a monumental run. And if he can get it right, he will take third place in the championship, which is going to be no easy feat, that's for certain, for the Project Vapor team. And after a season where it's been up and down, 13 points is all he needs to get to launch himself up But he's got to be careful of Tion Elof as well. So the further up he is, the better it's going to work out. Ideally, he needs to finish up into the top 5 to make it work for him. The racing all started out in Donington 8 weeks ago. It's ending here at the Red Bull Ring. And we may see some battles up through the order. Jason Farmer keeping the pressure on Henry Platt as they make their way through. Mordred Claessens on Blicknote is our duos they are currently fighting out. Each trying to figure out what's going to be the better option for them. How long can they go? Was the late pit stops what was needed to be done? Or will the later pit stops of Patterson, De Villiers, Blicknote, Claessens, Bergstrom and Krubler be the kill shot to anyone that has gone and fought it out? So it's going to be a close one. Jason Farmer and Henry Platt trying everything they can to give it everything they got to close up the run. We do see the Mustang in the background of Kerrick Bukes. He's trying everything he can. 3.6 seconds back to close up to the rest of the pack. So with a couple of cars, unfortunately, not able to see it. They will be fighting it out nonetheless. And now we're in for a great run. Jason Farmer all over the back of Henry Platt. 0.5 of a second. And Jason Farmer not holding back at this point. Wants to score some valuable points here and get into the top 10 as a final goodbye to the Griffin Sim Racing team as he ventures on to PWSR. What better way of doing it than ending up into the top 10, aiming towards the top 5 to say farewell to the team and walk away with the big points for them. Griffin Sim Racing team currently have been fighting out for the championship as well in the team standings. We can actually pull it up, see where exactly they are sitting. So the Griffin Sim Racing team is sitting in 8th place behind the PWSR 2 and Pandacity, along with both Omnius Gaming teams of Omnius Gaming KSR and Omnius Gaming. So if he can try and close up that pack, ensure that the Griffin Sim Racing team come home a little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit stronger. That is the overall goal for Jason Farmer in this running order. Henry Platt going out a little bit wide as he loses a bit of drive to the likes of Jason Farmer, going up through the gears, hard down from 5th, 4th to 3rd, and actually went geared down a little too much there and had to bring it. So it was trying to second gear to get the car going, which is a bit peculiar, of going down the gears a little bit too much on his way through. So out quick left, you can see in the review mirror that blue Ferrari closing, and has got to run through the final corner. But unfortunately, here's where the straight line comes in. The turbocharged V6 of the Ferrari 296 battling to keep up with the V8 ahead of him. Going to look to the inside, second guess that Jason Farmer not going to go for that dive, seeing how it influenced, but trying to force the likes of Henry Platt to look into that right-hand mirror and look away from the apex. So it's going to be a monster run for them on that. Mordred Claessens still keeping a 1.8 second gap to Jan Blicknote, and they are constantly keeping that gap, not losing out at all. Maeth Musa running up a little bit ahead, 2.3 seconds. We'll see these two now closing up on one another, ensuring he stays ahead of the pack, not wanting to get too much into the fight. Would prefer them to be a little bit further down the order and away from the Project Vapor team to ensure that they can score points without having too much of an argument here at RaceFace. Jason Farmer leaning on the brakes a little bit early, trying to throw the car in. Henry Platt now trying to get the drive as it's nose to tail between the two of them, and tried poking his nose for the inside line. Couldn't get it done and dusted. Switches around to the outside. Jason Farmer doing all that he can onto the back of Henry Platt and just not getting that drive that he requires. Look to the right-hand side, a little bit too far out. Took him out the slipstream, down into 3rd gear. He could see the Aston Martin battling through the gears as he gets a little bit closer. Nose to tail they go in the slipstream. Pulls to the right-hand side yet again to just try and look to defend. He's trying to force a defense from too far back by the looks of it. And Farmer constantly hoping that he can cause Henry Platt to look into that right-hand mirror and see where he can go instead of just keeping on the trail with him. Out onto the brakes, into turn 4, first gear, hook it in, get on the power, traction control, keeping the car alive, even though it's rather low at this point, just to ensure that the cars can rotate without too much of an issue. So Jason Farmer, Henry Platt still having a go at one another. Mordred Claessen's finally starting to put a dent into that gap and is now 1.5 seconds behind Blicknote as they fight it out for third place. Both still needing to do that one stop though, and both will have to keep in mind that Tian Elof down in 7th position is leading out those that have done their pit stop already. Brandon Kruger doing a 128.2 for 7 as his best lap time on the new set. Tian Elof with a 128.785. Last lap time, so both sitting in the, well, Tian sitting with a 129.3 with the likes of Brandon Kruger actually getting a 128.512 on the running order. The champion doesn't need to go and fight it out and will have to keep his eyes on the prize here. Taking a look over to our virtual grandstands, coming all the way out from the, well, building the new MSA 4 cars. As Tyler Humphries, we saw him racing a little bit earlier this week on Wednesday in the pink Aston Martin. Now going and doing a bit of spanner work behind the scenes with some photography work as well for the MSA F4s coming and replacing the Formula 1600s. Utilizing bits and bobs off those cars, giving them a new lease of life in a way. Jason Farmer and Henry Platt still keeping a close run between one another. Brandon Kruger is closed up to Tian Elof. The Scuderia Ferrari now having to keep an eye on the green Mustang right behind and hoping that he doesn't close up that gap. So we've got 3 little fights coming in. Blicknote Claessen's, Tian Elof and Brandon Kruger, Henry Platt and Jason Farmer. As the drivers still continue on their pace all the way through. Jason Farmer hoping that he can keep the pressure on Henry enough to try and cause a mistake and stay into that top 10. Remember, they're fighting it out for the team championship, and getting ahead of the Honest Gaming cars would be an absolute win for them. As Henry Platt gets a little bit of a poor drive out of the final corner, Jason Farmer's got the run up on him, is chasing him down, looking closer and closer, looks for the inside line. Can he get it done and dusted? Looks, tries to get past, side by side they go, but it is Henry Platt that carries that momentum through around the outside. Jason Farmer just not getting the drive out of turn 1, really starting to hurt it out. So at current, drivers battling their way through. We've unfortunately had a couple of retirements during the course of the race. First of those being the likes of Darren Miller with his brake pedal letting go and having the bolt come apart. Whole brake pedal bottomed out and no brakes in towards the wall. We have seen the likes of Kieran Patterson absolutely run away from the start of the race, now needing to continue on. A couple of dropouts also. Michael Donaldson, a big one, who was on his way through, was up into the top running of those that have already completed all their pit stops. But due to his PC updating, it went and shut itself down and started updating mid-race. Means that he is unfortunately retired forcibly by system errors. So not really exactly how he wanted it to go, as we do see a little bit of braking going on as Brandon Kruger going and keeping right behind Tian Elof. So I don't think he's looking to try and get past Tian, but ensure that he can keep up the drive at this point. Alan Patterson, unfortunately, one driver who is going to be feeling a little bit aggrieved at the moment. Down in 15th, had a bit of contact with Mordred Claessen's, and 2 of them going and drag racing it all the way through. But until we see the actual inputs of the cars, we can't say for certain what it was, other than, unfortunately, Alan Patterson spat into the wall and smashing that car to absolute pieces on the run. So definitely not a good run for him. He was out of the race early on. So 24 minutes to go. And that is so far the running order. We've kept an eye on a couple of close battles between Blicknote and Claessen, the likes of Elof and Kruger, Jason Farmer and Henry Platt on the back of one another. Jason Farmer trying to really force Henry to look on that inside, try and look in that right-hand mirror, look away from the apex. And on that running order, Mahath Musa has been more than happy to keep up his pace. Brandon Kruger, once again, throwing the car around onto the back of Tian Elof, but just not getting the run. Might have it going down the straight here. Going, and unfortunately not. Does brake really late to get onto the back of that Scuderia Ferrari. And Tian Elof now looking to go and fight it out. Kruger currently leading out the championship at this rate. Where he is, he will become the Season 1 championship winner of the RaceFace.Pro. And absolutely a great drive for him. He's been in an ongoing fight, an ongoing battle. Unfortunately, second place in the championship. Will not be able to defend and get a couple of points here. And will be cheering on from the sidelines. We do see Dean coming in and cheering all the drivers on, including his own team, the PWSR, who are looking to continue on their drive through the fight. Kruger just keeping the pressure on Elof to ensure that they carry through. We also did have the retirement of Christoph Peterson, who unfortunately had a system error, and that took him out of the race as well. So our third place of the championship, the door is wide open. 13 points is needed by Mahath Musa to be able to get that position and snatch it away from the likes of Christoph Peterson. So, that being said, Mahath Musa's got the pressure to ensure he stays in top shape. He needs to ensure he stays at least towards the top 5, because first position gives you 50 points, second gives you 43, third gives you 38, fourth gets you 35, fifth gets you 32 points, sixth gets you 29, 27 for 7th place, 28, 25 for 8th place, 9th gets 24 points, and 10th gets 23 points. So right up until 15th at the moment, there is 18 points, which is more than what he needs to jump up through the order. But he is trying to defend in the championship as well, with some stiff competition behind him. So we keep an eye on Kruger, looks for the inside line. Tian trying to walk him around and gets that Ferrari stuck to slow down on the apex. Brandon Kruger trying to get his nose underneath, and unfortunately not able to do so. Will continue on the drive. 21 minutes left of this race, and still our top 6 needing to get into the pits and serve their final pit stop during the course of it. I mean, this is going to be a proper run all the way through. Big slide for Tian. Brandon Kruger now looking to capitalize on it. Closes up at a rate of knot. Tian will keep an eye on the mirrors. Into the final corners. Down 2 gears. Back onto the power. Really trying to give it everything he's got. And got to be careful of track limits here at the Red Bull Ring. Final corner was a bit slow. And here comes the Mustang. Brandon Kruger closing. Looks for the inside line. Can he take it though? Tian switches hard to the outside, hoping for an undercut. A little bit too less on the speed there. And now just losing out the momentum as Brandon Kruger keeping that inside line covered, and more than covered at this point, trying to ensure that heading up towards turn 4, he's got the inside line, forcing likes of Tian Elof around the outside, side by side that they go, and Brandon Kruger cements holding his position just a fraction longer. Tian Elof not getting the drive that he wants to ensure he stays in for the mix. Kruger late on the brakes. Elof still trying everything he can to fight it out. Will now run second of those, leading out everyone that has done their pit stops. Kieran Patterson, 10 seconds away from Daniel de Villiers. Johan Blicknotes is 10 seconds off him. Has got Mordre Claessens now within a second of him. And now Mordre is going to be in for smelling a bit of blood in the water here, as the Mustangs generally do have a taper off point, especially on their tyres towards the end of the race. But I am looking at it, and everyone's decided they're going to do the splash and dash at the end of the race versus the beginning. Bego Krobler, who's into the top 6, might I add, is the only one that is going to be really hurting if he switches out the tyres. Brandon Kruger and Tian Elof still having a go at one another. Tian trying to close up that gap, unfortunately not able to do so just as yet. will have to hold back a little bit longer. Henry Platt duking out with Jason Farmer, who is fighting to get into that top 10. And these two are racing down to the line. They want to see that finish flag and do everything they can to do what is possible at this point. Looks on the inside. Jason Farmer trying to go for the pass. Second guessed it. Moved out of the way and will continue on. Ruan Heineke, a little bit of a move over for him as he tries to keep away from Mordred Klaassen and Blicknote, who are fighting for third place in class on the run through. Mordred Klaassen's for season 21 wants to end big here, and a little bit of silverware on the shelf is what's needed. So Klaassen's late on the anchors. Blicknote runs out a little bit wide as they continue on their drive. Klaassen's will need to figure out where on earth can he get this bit of momentum. What does he need to do to now bring that 1 second gap a little bit closer than what it was? So Tyre Nieloff, who is trying to get the climb on Brandon Kruger, is starting to lose out a bit of pace as well. Henry Platt and Jason Farmer, it looks like as the drivers were pushing a little bit harder and harder, the tires starting to give in that little bit more. 17 minutes ago, so far an hour and 2 minutes have gone by, and these drivers have been nose to tail throughout the race. Very few actually managing to have a little bit of breathing room before they get stuck into a fight. And that is what we have come to see. Some close, some amazing, and some incredible action brought by our drivers here at RaceFace.Pro. And the South African sim racers coming and putting on a phenomenal show for the world to see. Tyre Nieloff, Brandon Kruger still keeping up a monumental fight on their running order. Mordred Klaassen's 0.8 of a second behind Blicknote, but it is Kieran Patterson who ticks off yet another lap. Not going to pull into the pits just yet. He wants to try and give himself a little bit of room. Roughly about 30 seconds is going to be the perfect opportunity to go and stop any undercuts or overcuts from getting him, and especially into the closing stages of this championship to ensure that they stay in the running order. Mordred Klaassen's doing everything he can. Blicknote trying to hang on the back of him. Kruger, Elof, along with Henry Platt and Jason Farmer round out the pack on the way through of our little fights. So, as we waited out this track once again, relying purely on the slipstream, Mordred Klaassen's feeling that one of note. As you can hear that Porsche screaming, running up through the gears, gets right onto the back of the Mustang, and this is where the legs of the Mustang tends to work out, and you can see the gap starts to open up. Closer under braking, but just can't get close enough to get that pass done and dusted. It's going to have to really try and sink it deep into the corner, get early on the power, and really try and power his way through for the Pandacity team to make it stick. Unfortunately, just not having the run on Blicknote's Mustang at this point. Blicknote just continuing on. Will focus to see how he goes here. Advantage Klaassen's through the infield, but he needs to get it done and dusted before they reach turn 1. Otherwise, the likes of Jan Blicknote will be getting them sorted out. Maybe it's an idea to get into the pits, as we do see him starting to slide that Porsche around, getting into the dirty air, try and give himself a little bit of room to ensure he stays in the fight. That is going to be the questions down on the pit wall, discussing, looking at the time differences, looking at the lap times between them. Much as like Brandon Kruger and Tyre Nieloff going to be looking at the times and saying, right, what do we need to do to ensure we open up the gap a little bit more? Mahith Musa, a little bit slower last time round, has now got Henry Platt and Jason Farmer chasing him down for company. Jason Farmer hunting that top 10 at the moment. Platt running in 10th place is going after Mahith Musa in 9th. Tyre Nieloff in 8th. 7th is Brandon Kruger. Bego Krobler holds 6th at the moment, and first of those that need to go, well, he is last of those that need to go and pit. And from 6th position, the Bego Mustang going and showing a bit of South African pride with some old school and the running order. Conor Bergstrom in 5th, Mordred Klaassen's in 4th, Jan Blicknote in 3rd. Daniel de Villiers currently holds 2nd place, and Kieran Patterson holds out the pack at the front. Kieran going to be scoring a maximum amount of points here to ensure that he gets into the running order. And it hasn't quite been the championship for him for season 21. As Kieran Patterson runs in 9th position with Daniel de Villiers in 8th. With Daniel only sitting a couple of points above him. He's on 150 points, while Kieran's on 143 points. Ryan Barrington-Smith, who is not in the car today, is on 163. So he's going to lose out that run at the moment. Blicknote, however, will be scoring points. Ilof and Musa will be scoring points. So it does look like there's an opportunity for the two to move up. Mordred Claessen's aiming for the 3rd place, needs to try and gain a bit of time, as he did not go and have the easiest of seasons, not starting the last race and having some up and downs through the field as well. So Mordred Claessen's has got a lot on his plate to ensure he comes with positive results for the Pandacity Esports and the Simcade, as we do see Blicknote holding the 3rd place. Not often do we see Blicknote getting shaken at this point. Tends to close off those mirrors and continue on his drive nonetheless. So Blicknote trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Has got Mordred Claessen's hunting him down, trying to figure out where he can get that little bit of momentum, what's needed to be done throughout this race to ensure that they stand at the top of the order. The Pandacity team going to be fighting it out with the Omnius Gaming, and Mordred tried to look for a sweep under. Blicknote pulls into pit lane. Mordred Claessen's, however, chose not to go into the pits. He's going to go on a little bit longer, but now is Blicknote going to come out ahead of Brandon Kruger, who's coming through up to our final corners? I don't think so. I think we may see Blicknote, who is left going into the pits for the final time a little too long at this point, and already losing out to Connor Bergstrom on the way through. Next up is going to be Bego Krobler to get the pass done and dusted, and does so. Brandon Kruger will get the pass as well. Tian Ilof gets the pass done on him, and Blicknote hoping to keep ahead of Mahath Musa, and he will do so, as Mahath Musa only coming around the final corner now here at the Red Bull Ring out in Austria for round 8, our final round of the RaceFace.Pro Season 21 GT3 Championship. And man oh man, has it been a season, folks. It's been an exciting one, nail-biting one, and the championships are not going to fall away too quickly, as we're starting to see the team championships are getting closer, the driver championships are getting closer. There's still that concern of what may or may not happen during the course of the race that can change the entire season's race. And we've seen that from some major players like Christoph Peterson, going 3rd in the championship, looked for 2nd place. Unfortunately, having the internet drop out on him threw him out. Mordred Claessen's going into the pits after seeing the likes of Jan Blicknote down into 8th, so he's hoping he's going to be staying far away. And here comes Connor Bergstrom to get the pass done and dusted, with Bego Krobler as the next target. Brandon Kruger will be the one to keep an eye out for, and he's right onto the back of Bego Krobler at the moment, ensuring they can try and keep some of that pressure on him all the way through, as he tries to get a little bit more of a run. Mordred Claessen's stuck in pit lane. Now Caesar is dropping off the order. Henry Platt duking out with Jason Farmer. Now these two don't have to pull into the pits. What they do, however, need to do is ensure that they keep going and keep up the racing pace, putting a lot of pressure on one another. This track is actually one of the hardest tracks to get by, and the reason why is it's all straight line, as Blicknote and the likes of Claessen's having a bit of a coming together in the straight, and it does look like a bit of a sweep undercut takeover from the likes of Mordred Claessen's. Blicknote, the two of them properly going into one another, and just repeated contact that nearly stuck them in the wall. Not what we want to see from the drivers, not what we want to see from the pros that are going out. Don't want to see it from any of the sim races. Door-to-door banging like that, not ideal circumstances, and I think both drivers getting that red mist clawing in underneath the helmet. Mordred Claessen's needing to just focus up, get on that charge, and get past the likes of Blicknote as quick as he can. He's got the run on him through the corners, and Blicknote holding center of the circuit at this point to try and stop any ideas of Mordre getting past at the moment. Pandassi Team Porsche getting a little bit of a heave-ho on the way through. May have enough now into the slipstream and gets pulled along a little bit further. Going to aim for roughly about turn 4 at this point is going to be the passing mark for the two of them. And trying to continue on their pace as Claessen's actually dropping off the pace, giving a bit of more breathing room to Blicknote. Has he thrown the towel in after that? Bego Krobler now seeing the likes of Brandon Kruger having a look around him. Kruger going to look for the inside, look for the outside. The KSR Omnius Gaming driver will be smiling ear to ear. These two have a very long history here in RaceFace, battling out in the ACC for quite some time. And now getting to share the track yet again in the same machinery in different colors, however. Brandon Kruger, who has completed all his pit stops, will have to fight past Bego Krobler on the way through. As we will see Bego Krobler continuing on the drive. Does move to the right-hand side, holding the inside. Is it going to be enough, though? Kruger sweeps across the nose, and Bego Krobler pulls into pit lane. So he's getting his pit stop done and dusted. Brandon Kruger gains a position. Daniel de Villiers is now into the pits for his final pit stop. Connor Bergstrom and Kieran Patterson left out to roost on this one, as they will need to try and figure out what's going to be the game plan for them and how are they going to climb up through the order. Henry Platt dealing with Jason Farmer currently onto the back of him, the Ferrari 296 driver, onto the back of the Aston Martin AMR V8 that is rocketing around the circuit and absolutely just trying his best to keep up with Mahath Musa ahead. Mahath seeing Alan Patterson, who runs in 15th at the moment. Alan trying to claw back against Ruan Heineke. He's 33 seconds back. That is a long way after the major repair work that had to be done to the car. Bego Krobler comes out of the pits in 12th position. If that tells you what the drivers are going to be worrying about, like Kieran and Connor at this point, is when are they going to get into the box and how far may it chuck them down the order during the course of the race. De Villiers, who has now done his pit stop, continues on. He has done a splash and dash. He's went to spend 5.5 seconds with that Nissan in the pits to get a splash dash and back out on the circuit, and leaving the others to try and figure out where they can go. Brandon Kruger, however, 2.1 seconds back, is now closing up at a rate of knots. Now for De Villiers, this is a big moment for him to ensure he can capitalize on scoring points, and Brandon Kruger can be the one taking away those vital points. Daniel de Villiers on 150 points, and Ryan Barrington-Smith is on 163 points ahead of him, with the likes of Kieran Patterson on 143 points. So he wants to try and stay as close as he can to the top running order to ensure he stays in for the fight. Jason Farmer, Henry Platt, Mahath Musa all getting onto the back of one another, and from the monstrous lead that Mahath Musa had over the likes of Henry and Jason, it's now absolutely stripped away from him, needing to go that little bit further, as the drivers will be concentrating on a proper charge down to the wire in the last 5 minutes of this race, the last 5 minutes of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Season 21 Championship. And we so far can say Brandon Kruger has taken the championship. Second place, however, may not go to those that are planned. It may stay in the clutches of Dean Nokia. He may have done enough to hold his position, as we'll wait for the official points to come out and tell where each driver is. Christoph Peterson, being the guy that was able to take that second place, will unfortunately not be able to score any points here and will not be able to move his way up through the order due to a disconnect and packet loss. In other words, just not able to get in with clean internet. He will be blitzing, he'll be disappearing on the circuit, running into issues, and instead of taking that problem, he would rather wait it out and rather come back fighting next season. So this is going to be nose to tail on the way through for Mordrake Claessens and Blichnote, still keeping the pressure on one another. And it is going to be a huge chase as Mordrake Claessens has got the drive yet again. So he's cooled down those tires, he's taken the breath, and he's now keeping the pressure on Blichnote as they chase their way through. Yet again, the drivers are needing to figure out what's going to work here. And for the final minutes of the race, the dying seconds, and each driver looking for those final points to claw their way through. But this is going to be a tough run. Mahath Musa, who's caught behind Alan Patterson, and Alan just making his way through, wants to keep up a pace, is going to provide a little bit of a slipstream. That allows Henry Platt and Jason Farmer to try their luck, but unfortunately weren't close enough to make it work. Kieran Patterson into the pits. Connor Bergstrom going to be the next one into the pits. Alan Patterson moves out of the way, allows Jason Farmer, Henry Platt, Mahath Musa all to get on by, and says, look, I'm not involved in your battle. I've given enough of a tow. Now it is your guys' chance to really claw your way through. As Kieran Patterson coming out of the pits, Connor Bergstrom will get the pass on him. Daniel de Villiers, unfortunately too far back, has got Brandon Kruger all over the back of him. And now Kieran Patterson going side by side with Connor Bergstrom. Connor moves across the nose to try and protect. Now they are fighting for track position. Even though they're on a different pit stop strategy, it still is going to come down to who has the fight towards the end. Who's going to be able to get the climb on the running. As the drivers will look to push themselves that fraction more through the running order. And Kieran holding second place now. Doesn't want to get too much involved in the fight. Blichnote and Claessens 0.4 of a second between each other. Henry Platt and Jason Farmer 0.4 of a second as we're getting closer and closer to the signaling of the end for here at the RaceFace.Pro. And drivers needing to make it all happen. Kieran Patterson getting the pass on Connor Bergstrom at the moment. Will try and figure out his next way to get on by. And Kieran now needs to open up that gap further. Daniel de Villiers 11 seconds behind. Brandon Kruger on his tail. And now Kruger is just in for this fight to have a bit of fun out here and support the team in the team championship. Blichnote and Claessens still pushing on top of one another. Claessens looks for the inside line, nearly getting underneath the Mustang. He's going to try it yet again. And Blichnote going and holding that apex as much as possible. They're going to still go side by side, nose to tail yet again. Claessens just not having the legs on the Mustang on the way through as they fight their way on. Looks for the inside, couldn't quite get the pass done. Blichnote doing everything he can to try and hold that position. Connor Bergstrom into the pits. Daniel de Villiers up in second. Brandon Kruger up into third. Tian Elof into fourth. Blichnote and Claessens will go and move themselves up into fifth and sixth. Well, we'll see Connor Bergstrom dropping down the order. Mahath Musa feeling the pressure of Henry Platt and Jason Farmer onto the back of them. 54 seconds of this race to go. And it is still a huge race on the line for the drivers to make their way through. Who's going to be the ultimate to get themselves towards the top? And who is going to ensure that they stay in for the race all the way through? Critical points through the season. Mahath Musa fighting out with Connor Bergstrom. Gets a pass done. Connor down into 8th. Has got Henry Platt and Jason Farmer onto the toe, as well as these four battling out. Mahath Musa middle of the circuit trying to defend as hard as he can. Connor Bergstrom trying to go around that. And if him couldn't get it done, Henry Platt gets around and Jason Farmer tries around the outside, as we do see Alan Patterson, who's got the best view in the house and will be sitting with a smile, seeing his future driver of the PWSR of Jason Farmer going and throwing down against Henry Platt at the moment. Connor Bergstrom giving it everything he's got to Mahath Musa just ahead, and Mordrake Claessens trying to push a little bit harder. Big tank slapper coming out of the corner, and Mordrake Claessens loses out that little bit of pace to Blichnote as checkered flag comes out. Kieran Patterson takes the final flag for season 21 of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship. De Villiers takes second place. It's a PWSR 1-2. Brandon Kruger takes third place and becomes the season 21 champion here at RaceFace.Pro. Tian Elof finishes up in 4th. Blichnote will get 5th. 6th place goes to Mordrake Claessens. Mahath Musa still trying to fight it out. Comes down to the running order. 0.4 of a second. Mahath Musa takes 7th place with Connor Bergstrom in 8th. Henry Platt, Jason Farmer and Claret Bukes for the Stinger Racing has done an incredible job. Nonetheless, will come across in 11th position. A sterling effort on his part, and what an effort he had off in qualifying. Bego Krobler on his return to ACC will finish up in 12th. 13th position will go to Chris Wall of the Logistical Nightmare Racing Team. 14th, Ruan Heineke and Alan Patterson rounding out the field here at Raceface. And what a sterling effort. What a race. What a season coming to a close as they come across the line for the final time. Man, oh man, what a sterling effort nonetheless. And gotta take my hat off to all the drivers, to all the teams, and to all that have gone and put in a huge amount of hard work to get down to this. The final race of the season, now done, dusted, walked away. It is a chapter closed here in Raceface history. And what a finish to see so many throwing it in for the last little bit. And we're going to keep an eye on some of the highlights of the action-packed race here at RaceFace.Pro. We're going to be bringing in a couple of our drivers to come and have a chat to us. And first of such is going to be Daniel de Villiers of PWSR, who finished out in second place. Well, actually, let's actually start with third place, because I just see Brandon Kruger has just arrived. So third place, our final race, and our champion to come and have a chat to us, Brandon Kruger. Brandon Kruger, welcome to the commentary box, and might I say, congratulations on winning the Season 21 RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship. What a sterling effort, but it didn't look to be an easy one for you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. No, it was quite a tough one in the beginning of the season. I did come away with a fortunate win in Donington, and of course a win in Misano. But it was a worthwhile season, I must say, and one of my favorites for sure. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
Absolutely great stuff. And I need to inquire, though, now that it's all done and dusted, you in for the race, you done with your one, and the championship itself is concluded. How are you feeling with that final race, fighting it up from the back of the pack in towards the sharp end of the field?
Excuse me. No, it was a lot of fun fighting from the back of the field. I am quite relieved to have done the season without missing a single race. No disconnects plagued me. Unfortunately, last night I did have some internet issues, so I couldn't participate in the sprint race. So I made a plan yet again. And fortunately, this is the first season where I completed an entire season without issues, and I am very grateful for that. So yeah, I also wanted to finish the season off with a nice little bang. I was a little bit sick, but I knew I had the pace in me, so I decided to just start at the back, have a nice, comfortable, and consistent race. And yeah, now I feel great. I didn't sweat so much, and yeah, made away with the podium and fastest lap. So dead happy.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, before we let you go and enjoy the celebrations, especially on your final race of the Season 21, now walking away with that championship, anything you'd like to say to all the amazing partners here at RaceFace.Pro, to all the teams, the drivers that have been out racing against you, going and putting in the efforts, and also, most importantly, the absolute petrol heads that we have in the virtual grandstands cheering on every single time we get on air.
Yeah, it is massively appreciated. Everyone that sticks it out, comes and does every single race. All the participants that made it from the first to the final race, thanks to you guys. It does not go on unnoticed, don't you worry. And yeah, thanks to the partners at RaceFace for keeping us afloat. Thanks to everyone on YouTube supporting, shouting, making sure we are appreciated. And as well as thank you to my team, Omnius Gaming, as well as the sponsors, Init Apparel, AOC Gaming Monitors, and Switch. So yeah, thanks to everyone. It was a wonderful season. Thanks to Tian for that lovely battle I had in the middle of the race. That was a lot of fun as well. I don't know if PWSR offered him a contract, but yeah, he did make it hard for me. But yeah, it was great. Thanks to everyone.
Fantastic stuff. Brandon Kruger finishing up and is your champion for Season 21. Well done, Brandon Kruger. Go and enjoy the celebrations with the team. Absolutely great stuff. Well, let's bring in our second place. And going and taking second place is our champion for the sprint series. He's quite happy on that running order. And let's bring in Daniel de Villiers taking second place here tonight. Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers. Man, oh man, you are making this more and more apparent that you are here to stay in the commentary side of things. How are you feeling? Second place in the race in a hard-fought fight.
Well, Stephen, I feel much better than last night. Very confident that I ended up in the top 10 this time. But yeah, now I've executed a very good race strat and pace, so yeah, I'm very happy with the performance.
Well, trying to get a little bit closer to keep ahead of Kieran Patterson, 50 points being that number to get ahead, and you were only ahead of him by 10 points. I mean, how are you feeling that you're just able to put your nose just ahead despite the win from Kieran Patterson and taking him through?
No, Stephen, I still have a penalty that still needs to be applied from Alton Park, so I think he's got me there. But yeah, he is way quicker than me, and he deserves to be on the top, actually. He just had a very rough season this time, but he'll bounce back.
That's it. Well, you've got to be in it to win it, and you've got to fight your way through. Take us through your thoughts on this entire season. That's been a roller coaster ride for you. Sprint Series has been nail-biting, fighting it for the championship. And then coming into the Thursdays, it's just been a up and down roller coaster from your side. You know, take us through your thoughts of the season.
It's been an insane few months with Sim Racing South Africa every second Monday that took place, and then the Wednesdays Sprint Series and Thursdays this series. So it was a very intense race season so far for me and the PWSR team. And yeah, our performance has risen quite significantly from last season and so on. And the Nissan just keeps seemingly to surprise me every race, setup wise and pace and everything. Last night I didn't have actually enough time to configure the setup and everything, but tonight I had all the data I had from Sprint Series and applied it to here, and it looked like it worked out beautifully for tonight. But yeah, every race I learn new methods about how to get this car quicker.
Absolutely great stuff. And going and fighting it out for the team championship as well. Absolutely great stuff. And congratulations once again on a sterling effort for the final round of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 championship. And really looking forward to seeing how the final results come and shake out. I do think there's a bit of a smile that needs to come out. Know that you're taking caution. We know the Hitmen are always taking caution until someone needs to be removed. Then it happens. But I've got to say, absolutely great stuff on that. But anything you'd like to say to the incredible partners we have here at RaceFace, especially going and being with us for season 21, to the incredible drivers, teams, and most importantly, those petrol heads coming in and week out.
Yeah, just want to say to the Mustang drivers, they can stick it this time with their fast cars. I've beaten them tonight. But yeah, to everyone participating in RaceFace, thank you for participating, and we still need to keep those numbers up and the views and everything. Thank you, Stephen, for putting your time and effort every Thursday, every Wednesday to stream for this race. And to Hansi, Bertus, the stewards, thank you for everything. And yeah, on to the next.
On to the next. Daniel de Villiers taking that second place in the Nissan GTR. Well done, Daniel. And congratulations on going and turning Darren Miller to the dark side.
Yeah, I need to help Darren fix his pedals. He unfortunately got issues on qualifying, but yeah, you'll bounce back.
Fantastic. We're looking forward to it. Daniel de Villiers of PWSR. Let's bring in our first place driver going and taking the win before he takes a break for 5 months. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it a big round of applause to Kieran Patterson of PWSR. Kieran, well done. Congratulations. First place for the final round. Getting to see the checkered flag drop for the final time here at season 21. How are you feeling?
I'm happy to finish the season on a positive note. yeah, one better than last week, so can't complain. Teammate got P2 as well. Unfortunately, other teammates had some mechanical issues and unfortunately got annihilated. But personally, can't complain.
Absolutely great stuff. And the season has been a bit of a roller coaster ride. And remember having a chat with you earlier on, and you said you're in it to go and support your teammates. But was there always the thought in the back of the mind of the team championship is also there needing to be pushed?
Yeah, the team championship was always something that was sitting in the back of my mind. But I knew that as long as results just came our way, we were never going to finish always outside of the top 5 as a team. So I was quite confident that we would have had something to do with the team championship. I'm not too sure if we've taken it or not, but yeah, at least if we did, then we got something out of this season. So all's well that ends well.
Well, it is a possibility because Christoph Peterson was unable to finish, and he was one of the drivers actually in the championship, along with the likes of Paul Fenter. So you may have scored that 14 points sufficiently needed to get the team championship. We still wait to find out, but if so, congratulations on that one. Kieran, we understand that you're also going to be going away for a little bit and going and putting the steering wheel to one side. Are you going to be representing South Africa yet again in the world of cricket?
Yeah, I'll fly out in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, 2 weeks from today. So looking forward to it. I really do enjoy it, that side of the world. It's something different. You know, you always need a new scenery every now and then. So yeah, looking forward to getting back over there and doing the best that I can.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, Kieran, thank you so much for joining us this season. Well done on the results. And thank you on behalf of every South African for holding our flag up high and saying we are here, especially in the sport of cricket, other than the world of sim racing. But anything you would like to say to our amazing partners here at RaceFace.Pro, to all the drivers and teams that you got to duke it out with throughout the entirety of season 21, and also to the amazing petrol heads that have flown across the world wherever we are to go racing and going and cheering us on from the sidelines.
No, as usual, thank you very much, Steve, for your comments in the commentary box and the stream. Thank you to everyone on the stream that's supporting, again, not just myself and the team, but all the drivers individually. We really appreciate it. Yeah, happy to end the season and this half of the year on a positive note. Hopefully the team will continue in my absence, and hopefully the endurance championship we can put a good showing in there. So thanks to everyone, and we'll see you guys in about 5 to 6 months' time.
There we go. Kieran Patterson of PWSR taking the final checkered flag for season 21. Kieran, thank you so much, and give them absolute hell on the other side. Show them why us South Africans can beat them not only by 1 point, but by many, many more.
Cheers. Thanks, Steve.
Kieran Patterson, gotta love it. Going and putting in a huge, huge show, and also showing a different side of the world of sim racing, but beyond the waters. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hate to say it, it is the end of the show. It's the end of the season, and what a season it has been here at RaceFace.Pro. What a wild season it has been. All the ups, the downs, the twists, the turns, everywhere going on. All the changes that have come into play, and the incredible, incredible driving out on the circuit. A massive thank you to all the drivers, the teams going and being part of the show. Massive thank you to our partners, Red Star Raceway, Scallywags, Drifting Academy, Rhino Utility, going and joining us for season 21. It's good to have you guys, and we look forward to continuing the partnership going forward into season 22. Ladies and gentlemen, most importantly, a massive thank you to you all, the spectators that come in on the virtual grandstands live or watching in the future. We'd like to say thank you very much for being a part of the show, being a part of this incredible, incredible season, and giving all the highs, the lows, the dramas, the thrills, and the spills, and it brings the drivers back every single time. And personally, I absolutely love it to have everyone interacting and being part of the show. So on a personal note, thank you very much to every single one of you, and a huge pat on the back, because without our spectators, our drivers, and our teams, this would not be around. On Thursday night, we'll be going and watching our soapies instead. But a big thank you to all the admins, the stewards, and everyone behind the scenes. More importantly, a massive, massive thank you coming towards Tristan Herbst, who has now officially taken his leave from the microphone, only to do the bigger races. So you will get to hear him, but you won't get to hear him on the weekly races. Massive thank you to him for all that he's broadcasted of our Pro-Am division and being one of the big voices in this little walk. So massive, massive thank you to you all. And for the final time of season 21, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, say it with me, because I think you've had it for all 8 weeks. You've gotten used to it. So all together now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, leave us a like as well if you enjoyed all the incredible action, and let us know down in the comments what was your favorite part to the season. And like always, all together now, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody, from RaceFace.Pro.